All right, welcome back again. My name is Brandon Clayton. Excited to be here with you. I'm enjoying going through the book of Mark. How convicting is it to watch the Messiah walk and call me to follow in his footsteps? Are you going to be faithful or fearful? Just got one quick point today. Are you going to be faithful or fearful? Pick one, because you can't do them both. Let's jump in chapter 4, verse 36. It says, "And having left the crowd, they took him along in a boat as he was. And the other little boats were also with him. And there came a great windstorm, and the waves beat into the boat, so that it was already being filled. And he was in the stern, asleep on a cushion. And they woke him and said to him, 'Teacher, is it no concern to you that we perish?' And having been awakened, he rebuked the wind and said to the sea, 'Peace, be still.' And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said to them, 'Why are you so afraid? Have you not yet believed?' And they feared exceedingly and asked each other, 'Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?' 'Why are you so afraid?' he asked. 'Have you not yet believed?' Why are you so afraid? Have you no faith, as some translations have it? You see, the Messiah pitted fear and faith on two different spectrums, on two different ends. He says, why are you fearful? Don't you have faith? See, in that sentence, in those two questions, and you see this theme reverberating throughout the gospel and throughout the word. You cannot be both faithful and fearful at the same time. I'm going to say that again. You cannot be both faithful and fearful at the same time. And it's worth repeating because in our culture, in our psyche, we normally like to think, well, I'm faithful, but I'm not sure. Let's look at the definition. I want to make sure I read this not to miss it. It says, the definition of fear: an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain, or a threat. An unpleasant emotion. You know, some have defined fear as an acronym, FEAR. False evidence appearing real. I think that's how it goes. False evidence appearing real. But it's false. If it appears real, in the definition it says an emotion. Something you're starting to feel, and that's fear. It's not real, it's not tangible, it's just something you're feeling caused by the belief that someone or something is going to be dangerous. I believe that something may happen. I looked up the close cousin to fear is anxiety. Anxiety says a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. Think about that. Both fear and anxiety have to do with things that could, not necessarily did, but things that could happen. Look, if they already happening right now, then you deal with that, whatever's happening. But fear and anxiety often come from an uncertainty of something happening dangerous by a person or some event. Now let's look at faith. Many of us don't even have to turn there. Hebrews 11 says, now faith, watch the comparison, is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not yet see. Listen to those words, sure and certain. Now that's the complete opposite of fear. See, fear has to do with, I'm not sure what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm not sure how this surgery is going to go. I'm not sure if they're going to love me. I'm not sure if this is going to break down or not. I'm not sure what's going to happen. But faith says, I know what's going to happen. I know how this outcome is going to be. And you look at the story and you think to yourself maybe that surely they have ample reason to be fearful. Look at the situation. It says that the windstorm was coming and the waves beat into the boat so that it was being filled up. My. The boat is being filled up with water. Surely none of us will disciple or challenge someone for being faithless in that situation, or at least fearful. But we'll say, yeah, you see, we may drown. But yet he comes off the boat and says, or stands up, wakes up off in the boat and says, why are you afraid? Well, isn't it obvious? Isn't that how we feel sometimes? It's like, isn't it obvious? Why? Look at my life situation. Look at the things I'm going through. I don't know how I'm going to finish the school. I don't know when I'm going to get a job. I don't know how I'm going to grow spiritually where I want to. I don't know how my kids are going to turn out. And we spend a lot of time on that. That's a whole nother issue. But we spend a lot of time on our kids. Oh my goodness, what if they don't get the right education? What if they don't go to the right school? What about their academics and athletics? And we make decisions out of fear. Most people are led by their fears instead of by faith. They move and transfer jobs out of fear. It's not a faithful move. It's a move that says, this is what I put first, and God, please bless that. You got to put him first and be faithful. It's easy to be fearful. I'm tired of living faithlessly. And all my brothers and sisters, all those who are watching me right now, please go all in with me as I make every attempt to do the same. It's not easy, but I am tired of living faithlessly. I'm tired of living a life that is so calculated that I know exactly what I'm going to do tomorrow, how my bills are going to pan out. If that's the life you're living, it's not faithful. And that's one of the main reasons that we don't pray. You're not praying a lot. You're not in your word a lot. You're struggling. Why? Because nothing that you're doing today requires faith. Going to church, going to your class, going to your job, going home, nothing that you're doing requires faith. So it's not bigger than you, so you don't need him. And we struggle to come to him. How do I know? Because I've been there. I did. I say, why am I struggling with praying to someone who's so almighty and wonderful and all these things we sing to him? Why? Because I don't have a life of faithfulness. You get into a situation where it's desperate, where you or someone else's health is at risk, your life's at risk, and you start to feel the heavy gravity of things, and you start to say, oh no, I need God. But it's not until that point that you finish searching for your keys everywhere, and you've done all you can do, and you've exasperated your own efforts and everything, that you'll say, okay, well maybe since we've done everything else, I guess we should pray. There's no faith. We live fearfully. We live calculated. But I wanted to call you to choose one. Fearful or faithful. You can't do both. I wish I could do a whole lesson on this, but I'm going to tie this part in chapter 5, verse 36. A man comes to him who's a synagogue ruler. His daughter's dying. And after some time on his way there, one of his servants, I believe, or a family member, says to him, look, don't bother the teacher anymore. Why? Your daughter's dead. Now you read that story. Right after he says that, what happens when you know that the dreams that you've been looking forward to, the plans that you prayed for, the thing that you was hoping for, and now it's gone? Hopeless. Forget faith. You don't even have hope. It got done. But right after that, our master catches him. He says, don't be afraid. Just believe. Again, we see this dichotomy. We see the two things like, don't do that, do this. Don't be fearful anymore. Stop living fearful. When you turn off this video, I want you to ask yourself, what am I living fearfully? To what am I living fearfully? How have I been making fearful decisions? Or better yet, what areas of my life demonstrate faithfulness? That I could not do this without faith. That when people look at my life, I believe that a man or woman of faith who's living faithfully, life should not make sense. Now, sometimes it will, but most of the time, and many of the times at least, it shouldn't be making sense. Because you're so faithful that faith is believing and being certain about things you can't see. And other people are saying, I don't see how how's that, what? And they're struggling, trying to put teeth in pieces. People will try to calm you down and come back to their level and say, well, let's be wise here. Well, wisdom is fearing Yahweh. Fearing God and doing what he commands. Wisdom that we think is not calculating everything out and let me figure out how I can take care of. That's the problem. You're always trying to take care of it. You're always trying to take control of the situation. Let it go and give it to him. Be faithful, not fearful. As a matter of fact, it's through the tough times that he calls us there. I think it's Corinthians chapter 1:8. I can't remember if it's first or second. But Paul says, We endured such stresses. We endured even to despairing of life. Why? So that we may rely on Him who is able. It pushed us back to God. So I'm calling you to go all in and be faithful. Faithfulness is the bedrock. It says without faith, it is impossible to please Him. But most of us are living faithless. We're simply living the life that most people around us are doing, and we consider ourselves doing well if we're doing a little bit better. Or we think to ourselves, nobody else is talking about this. Okay, I'm struggling in my faith. I'm stressed out. You're speaking it right now. You are not trusting Him. I remember one time my daughter was playing out of the park and the kid was chasing her. And I stood there and I thought, why she just don't run up to me and grab my leg? I'm at least 2 or 3 times bigger than this kid. And it hurt. And I wonder how that feels to our Father. It hurts that you run away. I'm right here. I have the power. I can handle it. Trust me. But I don't see how. Trust me. Test me. Know that I'm here to prosper you. So I want to call you guys to be faithful. Faithful. That's the bedrock of what we do. That's not something you want to let me work on that later. That is the bedrock. You cannot please Yahweh without faith. So let's be faithful and not fearful. And go all in that process, because you can't put your little toe in this one. You got to go all in, and you're going to be out there exposed. Go all in. Right? One last quick thing. Well, the question that comes to mind, well, what if it doesn't happen? What if the thing that I'm faithful about doesn't actually happen? First of all, I'll tell you what James says. He says, well, if you believe, he says, first of all, if you want wisdom, ask God. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt. I know that's tough. We keep questioning, how are you going to work through this? And not doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. He shouldn't expect to receive anything from the Lord. He's a double-minded man, unstable in all he does. Sometimes we think we have faith, but we keep doubting and we keep questioning it, and it's like you're not faithful. You're like a wave of the sea. Everything is just crumbled because you're still doubting. I found that when I thought I had faith in God, it was really on something else. I was like, I'm so faithful that He's going to provide for this, and my bank account went negative or went low. And where's my faith now? Or I remember driving one time and I'm running out of gas. I'm faithful, and my bars of gas got down so low, then I started struggling. Now, Yahweh never moved. He never moved at all. But the gas hand did. But my bank account numbers did. So what does that mean? That means I'm standing on those promises and not on Him. Be faithful. Go all in. I'll see you next week. Thanks for the time.